Thank you so much for tuning in to She's All Over the Place with Kiriaki. That's me.
Welcome to She's All Over the Place. This segment is titled Culture Kids. Today, I have a dear friend, a special guest. She's an OG in the space from Clubhouse days, Naama Pozniak. She's an NFT investor, curator, founder, and CEO of Paz Holding, Inc. The website is rightplan.com. It'll be in the show notes. She has a Web2 career, and we're going to talk about it today. A lifelong artist, educator, and sound meditation coach for Chopra Global, Naama brings Web3 panels to many industries around the globe. A unique style and balance of proven leadership, mindfulness techniques, and corporate wisdom to communities across industries. With the mind of a rock star, she is a true legendary rock star. She has the heart of a healer and her generosity, amazing. She's an avid volunteer. Naama's programs inspire and educate from her 30 plus years as an entrepreneur, and she's part of the RugRadio OG Dao Council. Naama, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the amazing words.
Definitely. You are all over the place. You were just in Tel Aviv. You were in Atlanta. So tell us about your travels and what you were doing in those countries and places.
Yeah, so my latest travel actually was back home. My mom was in the hospital, so I traveled to Israel to visit her, make some soup. I was there for a week, then flew through London, was seeing my childhood friend that we reconnected recently, and then flew home last Monday to fly to New Orleans to a benefits conference that I was leading 2 days, opening the event with meditation and implementing the opportunity to lower our cost of healthcare, which will be seamless and effortlessly done by just implementing a little bit of quiet space and stillness daily. So yeah, now I'm home.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, all the best for your mom. How lucky she is to have you fly there and give her so much love and healing and warm soup and hugs. That's so sweet. Yeah. Let's send her hugs. Definitely. Oh, so tell us more about what you do in the healthcare space.
So I have been leading a team in the health insurance industry to provide like a one-stop shop for health insurance. So we specialize in individual healthcare and benefits for employers, either small or large. And we walking people that are turning 65 into their Medicare years. So we're helping the seniors, getting the supplements coverage. And then we have a big department in the office for travel, inbound, outbound health insurance policies for all over the world. And this is it. So delivering a broken system since the early 90s. I have been sick and tired of really being the bearer of bad news, delivering, high cost of care and less coverage. If you are in the US, you understand exactly how we are victim of the system. And actually, we are practicing sick care, not healthcare. My personal life, I've been practicing yoga and I've been a yogi for many, many years, traveling a lot to India. And then one day it clicked. One day I was sitting on the Gangas and I was like, oh my God, this is why I am still in the business. And I've been always successful in the business, but I felt tired and low energy and didn't want to continue doing it and start thinking, well, what can I do next? Because this doesn't work. I mean, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's getting worse and worse, by the way. But it's clicked to me that there is a way that I can actually help and improve and allow people to understand, educate people and to understand how can they take their health in their own hand and heal and practice the ancient, philosophy of Ayurveda medicine and healthcare that can actually help us heal. And I'm doing.
And how are you specifically doing that?
So I went through a habit training. I did a lot of modules during the years for yoga practitioners. I'm not a yoga instructor, but I went through major module techniques. And in the end, I chose the Chopra Center as an instructor. So I lead meditation, group meditation based on deep Deepak teaching, and I'm doing it. And that's how it helped me implement meditation into the US healthcare and allow.
Yeah.
And so now I'm opening events with meditation, and whenever I can, if it's the board meeting or the insurance carriers or it's the benefits industry or any industry, if you open with a few minutes of meditation and intention, the results, the culture you built, the energy, the connection among attendees are increasing, and it's bringing the soul and spirit to every event. So that's what I'm doing for many years.
Love that. I have a couple things that come up. So first, thank you for sharing. And speaking of Deepak, he actually just had his own collection with timepieces. So he's into NFTs. I haven't checked my wallet yet to see the reveal. I think it's
been revealed.
I think the reveal already happened. I have to go to my wallet and check it out. Very cool. So, when you're going around to all these, you go to conferences and summits, not only for NFTs, you're heavily involved in the NFT space. You spoke at Future Shape 360 last July. You spoke at NFT London. You're a speaker on many stages. And then you're also going to conferences in the healthcare system. So every time, if it's NFT related or not, the way of the system in the world is, do you always incorporate Web3 now in the blockchain to educate people in that way? Are you bridging them at every single conference where you're on a stage?
Yes. So I actually do that in different levels, and I'm also on my way to finding the right path to be successful in that.
Yeah.
So, for example, in last June, I was in Austin, and I was leading meditation there, a national conference in the healthcare. I think there were like 600-700 people, and
I remember.
Yeah. And I was opening the event with meditation, and then I had half an hour to host the stage of Web3, NFT, and the blockchain. And I had an artist, I had a platform, and we had a conversation about what is it exactly? How can we implement, and how can we educate more people, and just have the room was full. The room was full of people. It was incredible to see. So that's my biggest passion, is to curate in real life event, in Web2 conferences, to have a session, to speak about the metaverse, the opportunity to actually move for me, mainly is the health insurance industry and the healthcare, to move everything to the blockchain, to have the transparency, to be able to find the information and be authentic about how can we not just use the system as a creature of habit, but learn from the inside out and see how can we enhance the system. So that's one thing that it's really happening and happening behind the scene. But it was funny that you mentioned the timepieces and Deepak. So I signed up a few weeks ago for the allow list, and then I forgot about that. And when I lead the group meditation, the text is based on the teaching that the Chopra were teaching us and Deepak, but I'm always putting my own flavor. And for years, I'm actually leading, and this is something that I'm talking a lot about, the 7 Spiritual Law of Success. This book has been a reference. Almost every meditation that I led so far in the last few years, I've been referencing the day of. Like, for example, today is Wednesday, and Wednesday is the day of least effort. So there is a lot of energy about Wednesday and how we are breaking up the week for each day, and what the intention and how mindful can we be about the day. So I was leading on Thursday with intention and desires, and sharing how Thursday is important. And also it was the new moon coming up in the Aquarius, and what does it mean? And I went back to my room afternoon, and I'm like, wow, this was dropped. And you can mint. So, I mean, it's like, so I went and mint my 3 pieces. I actually got 4. So I bought 1 on the second market, and then minted the 3, and couldn't believe the synchronicity and the coincidence. But there's no coincidence, I mean, I don't think there is a coincidence. So that's amazing. It's really an amazing project. I think that I don't think it's been spoken enough on this level, but it's a big day. It's a big day for the spiritual world. Yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. I'm so happy I was able to collect. That's so neat. Maybe we'll have Deepak on. Let's talk about the importance of Web3 moving into wealth. What do you mean by that? What does it mean for you?
So one thing about the space, and it's not, unless you are sleeping under a rock or I don't know, where you really understand that women in the space in general, I mean, women in general, but in the Web3 space have voice. We have the voice. You can hear the women. You can see them. They're always so beautiful. And it's really beautiful to see that we have a lot of women around. Depends on which communities, but we do have them. But when you go into the roots, you go deeper and deeper and deeper. Yes, we have the same opportunity, but we don't have the same background. We don't have the same starting point. We don't have the same support, and we don't have the same courage that I think men have to each other and the way they were leading in the world for generation and generation. For me, it's very important to bring the right conversation into the space. And the right conversation into the space cannot be among women talking about women empowerment, which is great. You know, some women needs that and needs the support to really have a voice and do this and do that.
And know how to utilize their voice. Like you said, we all have a voice, but some people just are so confused on how to use it. So that can be like a channel on the Discord. That's like a sub channel on a Discord.
Exactly. Yeah. No. But the bottom line, what
important.
It's that we need to move the conversation into, so we need the feminine and the masculine to come together. We need to bring the conversation into, if we are hosting a panels, if we are talking in the room, or it doesn't matter if it's on Twitter, on Clubhouse, whatever it is, we need to bring the conversation and see how are we rewriting this contract to, and it goes beyond just the wealth. It's really about commitment, I think, how we are committing to each other. Because as a single mother that raised my kids financially, I would say on my own for sure, I think that I've seen so much discrepancy. And still today, I mean, every day I see it. And I'm behind the scene on a lot of the information. And I can see how the masculine energy, and not all of them, but most of them see their responsibility only when they are in their relationship. So the wealth is mutual until we actually breaking this package. And when the package is broken and you see too many men and women, both, because if you could start talking to men in a way that they can understand how they've been affected by that, meaning they have a grandmother that got abandoned. They have a sister that her husband abandoned her. There is emotionally abandonments, but it's also financially. And that's the wealth that I'm talking about. It's not helping women be great, is coming to the table and talking to women. How can we together create a space that will, I can say in the NFT space, is how can we create a space that will have women collecting, and not just showing up, but collecting, being a holder, because there's one thing in your mouth and there is one thing in your wallet. There's two different things. And I think that I've seen too many women, are incredible women that do so much into the space, and they're mostly community manager and doing that. Although the tech side is also a problem because it's engineering school is full of the masculine energy. So again, it will take time, but I think that empowering the conversation to take responsibility on actions and rewriting this contract, being very smart about this contract that hopefully one day and soon will be on the blockchain, and we're not going to be like, oh, right now we are a unit and then tomorrow we are not together and it's you dealing with your own things and I'm going on my own, having, the wealth is like 80-20 best case scenario, or to have to do also with the collections and NFT space and owning communities and projects and stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you remember those famous books like Nancy Drew Story Clues. They were like Inspector Gadget, kind of like Nancy Drew. There are these famous books. Well, I remember in 2018, I was flying from New York Fashion Week to LA, and I met this woman, thank goodness gracious. I was on my iPad studying voiceovers, and then she showed me, she was just with this like designer doing stuff with Vogue and blah, blah, blah. And she was working with Her Interactive. It's an all female coding gaming company in Seattle. And they were going to make Nancy Drew and Story Clues. And they were showing how to make coding cool for like 12-year-old girls, like for younger girls. We had a connection. She ended up hiring me, and I read for the role, and I became Georgia, which was like the tomboy, Nancy's best friend. And I recorded the project. But there was buzz then, I remember, like, oh yeah, because growing up, it was always boys doing the electronics, boys fixing, the wires of the TV. And then like in 2018, also I went to DJ music school, and I learned like in less than 5 minutes, like how to hook up the controller and the speakers. And you have to you have 5 minutes or less, like go and you do it. So like really putting divine femininity and other people up to those kind of tasks instead of just making it so heavy, thinking like, oh, projecting like this is so-and-so's responsibility. This is so-and-so's responsibility. So like radical transformation. I just had this woman, Colleen, on from the president of the Actors Connection. So it's about like, instead of blaming or shaming or putting things onto other people, or as a society and culture and communities, oh, that community will take care of it. Oh, that's what they do. No, like we're all responsible. So we can be more responsible to be interested to learn, and if we want to. But what are some 1 or 2 examples of how people can take radical transformation and action about some of the things that you're talking about?
First of all, I really have a huge trust in the blockchain and the smart contract, as I mentioned. I think that these contracts will eliminate, definitely, it will eliminate a lot of the questioning around responsibility and actions. Not only that, it's very black and white. It's almost like, okay, there is no, although, even on the blockchain, you can transfer to one different wallet and a friend's wallet. And, I've seen it, but, so it might be a problem, but I think that it needs to come from the heart. So I think that the opportunity to actually connect from the heart and understand that we are not just equal as far as, and again, I'm not a feminist at all. So I don't know if I mentioned it before. I'm not at all. I'm still, and many of my the way I'm thinking and the way my thought processes is I'm very conservative, and sometimes even old fashioned in a way when it comes to relationship between men and women. And, and I'm very close to men. I'm very, very close to, I grew up with a lot of men around me. I'm still very close to very powerful men from my childhood. So it's really super interesting it's been really, I think that the fact that we're going to have the contracts to be transparent. So there is not going to be a lot of questions about how will it work will be great. But also, I believe just hosting either panels or events that will make sure that we're all on the same page and understand slowly, step by step, like baby steps, our feelings, our thought, the thought process, that we are different, that we are, a man say I'm insecure. It's not like a woman say I'm insecure. It's two different things. So I think enhancing the conversation and moving into the space that not just women talk around among themselves, but have collab conversation with them, and allowing the opportunity to actually show up in different ways and educate more women to be stepping up and leading the space in ways that are, again, merging both worlds into the conversation, even if it's on a panel or a podcast or a Twitter space. Make sure you are staying conscious about that. And it will take the entire tribes of men, I think, from all over the world to really, really bring the conversation and act upon it, you know.
So the thing is, before we started the podcast, we took a deep breath, we set an intention, and we were mindful. We were conscious about it. And we were, talking about wallet hygiene and how Kevin Rose just was hacked. And he's one of the leaders in the space. Love to Kevin Rose. I was in a Twitter Spaces and a lot of people were blaming and shaming. But to onboard more people, we have to support one another. And it's not the individual. It's not about that. It's about like the technology and with the contract and the smart contract. And you think you're signing something. People are moving so quick in this space and there's so many links. But like taking action, rightful action that you're talking about, like maybe before clicking a link, maybe before taking action in such a way, maybe we take that space. Everything doesn't have to be kumbaya, setting an intention, or kumbaya, like doing a prayer. Everyone can have their own thing that they do, but maybe there's that extra breath or space that we take, that we make before taking action and being so quick to click and so quick to call someone or to do something or to be involved. Maybe we just take another day or another beat. And any thoughts on that?
I think that always to take an extra breath helping me. I mean, I can definitely, this is my personal practice every time I do something. But listen, I first think that and I think that I've seen in the last few weeks, because major leaders in the space got hacked. I've seen in tweets saying, I never thought it's going to happen to me. And I think that goes a long way with how we all think. So I am sure Kevin Rose never thought it's going to happen to him. I'm sure Crypto Novo never thought it's going to happen to him. There are people that really separate themselves from everyone. And I think that we need to think that it can happen to everyone. It can happen. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much security you have. You have the ledger, you have this, you have all the security, you have everything. It's going to happen to you. I've been hacked 4 or 5 times. I've been hacked on a hack, trying to see if I can fix it, and then I got even more beyond even words.
Hackathon.
yeah. I've been hacked on my WhatsApp a few weeks ago that they were asking for. Remember? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so important to talk about it. Go ahead. And one of our mutual sent money to you and then sent us in another group chat warning us not to, which I don't do. And that's why I called you immediately. Yeah. And I knew it was fishy. But even the best people, or even you think the smartest people, like you said, it can happen to anybody.
So I think so I think, first of all, we really, and I think that people, I'm in conversation with several of the carriers and security in the security industry. And I think that insurance for a wallet will be, it's really needed in the space. Again, I'm talking to people now and trying to advise also on so many levels, because I see how we can create some type of coverage that will cover you for hackers. I think that the entire space, the platforms that we are using, I think they need to go at the extra mile and help people protect people. So, for example, when you get hacked, then you have to go to the police and report a stolen NFT, then bring the NFT to be an obsolete. So how are we going to recover my NFT if it's going to be an obsolete, and report it to the police? So I think the whole process, it's going backwards instead of going forward. And I think that the way to show the love that the community had and people who showed up for Crypto Novo, I was in tears several times. And, to watch Dario, that I know him from day one from Clubhouse, stepping up. And if you met Crypto Novo ever, you really understand that Crypto Novo is his punk. You cannot, you cannot steal it from him, because this is his character. And the genuine heart of this man is like to the moon. I think that we need to have a process and procedure to follow. And I think that I don't think it's going to be helpful to be a little bit more careful. I mean, yeah, of course, be more careful. But, I just were in a meeting that somebody said that they got hacked from a Google link.
There's a Google extension. It's called Ad Blocker. It's free. You can put Ad Blocker. Also, there's Wallet Guard. It's a Google extension. So I was like purchasing some transactions and I was getting these text messages. Like it went through, but I was getting these messages and I put in the Wallet Guard. It's free and it says your MetaMask is outdated. So I just one-clicked, was able to update it, and then it shows you green or red if it's like good or not. And then they have a search bar where you can put in the URL to see if it's like a good one or not. So that's that extra step. And so they're not sponsoring the show or anything. I'm just, education is so important. So I'm like talking about the importance of it. But my MetaMask, I didn't know what was going on. And then I put that in there when I found out about them a few days later, and it updated my MetaMask. And so that's great. That's really good. So yeah, so I just wanted to share that. Like, and the other thing is, no matter what, if you have Wallet Guard or another something that you may use, nothing is 100% secure. Nothing at all. Nothing is 100% secure because there are so many bots. It's getting the stronger the platform, the more it's getting attacked like every single millisecond of these bots. So nothing is ever secure. Something just happened, I think, with Chase Bank the other day. Like there's some kind of hack or whatever. Yeah, there's hacks all the time.
Yeah, it's like there are bad apples everywhere. But I think that I think we need to have several cases when hackers are actually caught by the authorities, and that people understand that they have consequences, because right now people do not have consequences. I mean, we're buying again the NFT from somebody that actually bought it and stole it. And I mean, it's ridiculous the way it works, So I think taking the basic steps, of course, with Ledger and making sure that you are safe, but then it's starting a whole different new way of experience. And I believe the technology we will advance the technology. And in a few months, the space is not going to be, the same. We're going to have a different space, and it's going to look different and feel different. But definitely, I believe people will step up for Kevin, and I believe Kevin will get his stuff back. But again, it's sad that also the help is for people who are really in the driver's seat of leadership, and the people that are losing every day and discouraging by that, going to leave, and who knows if they will ever come back. So, I'm just thinking that we have to tackle it all, and to have insurance to our wallet will be great as well, and finding solution that will up-notch the practice of the security will be important.
I love what you just said. Do you ever go to Leap Spaces by chance? I'll send you his URL. You have to go to him. He's amazing. They just brought out stats. He's like the #1 Twitter Spaces. They have over 50,000 unique people per month. And I was on a space with him last night. His goal is to like have 1 million by the end of 2023. But I was actually just in a space, and I think it would be really smart for you to join his spaces. Someone brought up actually insurance for NFTs. So I think that's like, talking about insurance and stuff. It's just up your alley. So, I mean, I'll send you the link so you can check it out, but he's amazing.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah. It's every night at 10 p.m. and it goes to 4 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. I know. So it's 7 p.m. your time.
Oh, okay.
So that's good. When you're in LA at 7 p.m. So you can just jump in.
Yeah.
But yeah, the spaces are like, everyone's in there now. Like Warhodl, JR, Emily, Logic, like they were all in the space last night. Okay. I just saw them all in the space last night. Yeah. I saw Emily and JR actually the last 2 nights in Leap Space. Oh yeah. So let's move into, I want to move into inclusion and diversity in Web3. Do you want to go there and explore what that means to you?
Yeah. So I think that it has a direct correlation to what we talked about, about the wealth. And I think that I'm seeing discrepancy, not just by the feminine energy, but I see a minority as well. I don't relate to people as minorities, but I mean, it's happening in the world, and I see the power of the blockchain and crypto, the ability and the power to actually move the wealth into wallets that really needed it. So if it needs help in Africa for the water conservation or the soil, we need sustainability for the soil, education for the soil, or we need there is a war like we did in Ukraine. I mean, I think I see the social goods, crypto for good, or NFT for good, and I see the potential of the artists to be able to enhance the goodness in the world, which since day one that I am in the space, which is 2 years now. I mean, I never sold an NFT. I never trade an NFT. I just collect, and I, created NFT for charity. Like I minted for charity. And I think that, again, because I don't have an attachment to anything in the space. And I definitely don't want to be, dropping the collections and all that. But I do have, my heart is like, let's do it. And also, I was born an artist. So, I mean, I think that people like me that are in minorities, that they never thought they can do something with their art, or it's not just the ability. It's just, I never had the desire to actually sell or be in, exhibitions or I never.
That wasn't your motivation and your drive.
No, exactly. Never. And the only time.
But you have like an appreciation and the aesthetic. You like to be around it and.
Yeah. So unless you came to my house, you wouldn't even know that I'm an artist, But when you came to my house, people are like, oh my God, because my art is all over. And the space moved me in a way that I don't think any income can move anyone to the heart and happiness. So I felt, and I'm feeling like, this is it, now you can share your art, and you don't have to, and it's not just specifically, you paint for so long, for months as I would paint, and then what? I will have it in somebody's house. There's no money that could actually sell this piece for me. So, but right now, when I can share it with more wallets and have, I'm planning myself to rebuild my home and the home that I raised my kids, and to have a whole wall of screen and NFT, so people can actually, the community can come, and I'll host events, and it's just.
Your home's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so is your art. I've seen it a couple times, and I'm so excited for us to collab. And I saw like you and Brain Pasta did a collab, and let's talk about your art. For me, I see you as an abstract artist. So how is your art for you?
So yeah, it's abstract, but it means so much. It's like when I look at my painting, for example, there is so much behind it. It's like I can write about it. And that's why I'm so attached to my art, because, it's all symbolic to a specific time in my life, or whatever I went through emotionally and physically. And it was an avenue for me to actually take my anxiety and move it to the to colors, and colors are my life. I really, really love color, and being eclectic myself, I'm like, I wake up in the morning every day and I walk into my closet and I'm like, oh, what's today? What can I do to make myself, what color I feel today? And I make myself so happy by just, dressing up. Colors also means a lot to me. So red means something very specific. The yellow means, so, and I also lead from that, colorfully, I think that leadership is also something that you are mindfully can share with colors. So yeah, so the art is another step that right now brought me into sharing my heart and soul, and actually beyond, because it's very personal for me.
Yeah, I love that. Your wardrobe is so on fleek. Your wardrobe is just like a walk-in dream and so colorful. You know, Warhol posted the other day, and I retweeted it, that he overheard art is very personal.
Really?
It is. It's so personal. And when I was looking at one of your pieces, how you were showing me how like you write and then you put layers and collages on top of it. I'm a poet, so I've done that too. It's like you have secret messages written under certain things, and that attachment. Oh my God, that attachment is real. I had a storage, like I've had multiple storages, like 4. I spent over $10,000 through the years on just holding my babies. Those were my babies. And I dismantled and, sold some, gifted some to friends. And before the pandemic, I got rid of, my last storage. I'm like, I'm not going to hoard and keep storage. Like, these are so beautiful. They need to be out there. And I took radical responsibility. If they're not going to be out there, like at an exhibition or in a gallery, like I'm gifting these and I'm paying it forward. And I gifted over 40 physical paintings to the Goodwill, signed by all means. One by Jessica Simpson, signed. I told the guy, he took that one. And I'm like, just hold on to it. He's like, I'm going to put it above my bed. I'm like, do not sell it for under $10,000. Trust me. He's like, oh, I'm never going to sell it. But yeah, all those are signed and they're out there in the world. So like people who like color, who like art, who like collage, we can pay it forward. Like someone's old belongings or trash is someone else's gold. So it's all energy, whether it's up and down and you have that anxiety that you feel and you shapeshift that energy and you apply it to the canvas, or you get dressed in such a way to feel good. It's so, so important for self-care and love and how we're mindful and tuning in with ourselves. Thank you for sharing that.
To what you just mentioned, I mean, whenever I come back home from a conference, I create a painting that has to do with the energy of the conference, with the wording, with some stickers, with some, so it's actually really allowing me to express, because art is expression without words, but then you can put words into the expression, and I think take it to a level of mindful understanding and mindful, very aware state of consciousness. So, yeah.
And that's so cool because you can take that and take a photo and now have a digital collectible on the blockchain. It's like having a diary of your life. In addition, your experience and art is telling the story of history, of our interpretation of this moment, of this energy collectively through your rooted experience of your being to the present day of now. And for you and generations to come to look at that piece of art and see this was that moment, right. So that's really beautiful. That's inspiring for me, be more niche and specific about like certain experiences I'm having to maybe document it in such a way for that moment. It doesn't have to be a 10,000 collection or 11 piece collection, just one. Just take that moment of what is, because there's so many things in that experience that can be in that whole collection of that one. I love that.
Absolutely.
Speaking of art and education, let's shapeshift into your book. So you have a new book coming out soon. So tell me more.
Yeah, so this book is actually, I'm done with this for about a year ago. I wrote it mainly the weeds of the pandemic. Started in 2020, and was done. But it's like I'm editing. And it's the name of the book is Super Ohmni. It's a very, very special book to me, and Super Ohmni with a H, OHMNI. And this Super Ohmni, it's the RX for the meta leadership in the new now. So how can we be leaders when we show up in the new now? And the new now is every moment we are new. So how can we lead, into the future when we are in this physical aspect of our body? And the book is actually really go back to how I grew up. And of course, I grew up in Israel, and I talk a lot about what does it mean to be growing up in a war zone, basically, So it's really bringing back, and then being third generation of the Holocaust. So a little bit about that, and then a lot about my leadership in the health insurance industry, and being a woman also in a very, very, very masculine energy profession. So you can walk into a room, and on many occasions in my business, and I am the only woman, not just the only woman, I'm the youngest in the room in many cases.
Oh my God. I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show. Oh my goodness. We are totally on video. So if you haven't already popped over to the video, please go to my YouTube. The link is below, and check out Naama on the video. She's amazing. Is that piece yours behind you, by the way?
Yes, that's the Super Ohmni. So the Super Ohmni that's the cover for the book, but the Super Ohmni took a tweak. So the Super Ohmni was before, because it's a piece that I painted in 2001, something like that, and then. So that's the Super Ohmni. I stopped painting in 2009 because I didn't want to waste canvases, and there was no more room, and I didn't want to sell, and it wasn't my career, and and I didn't relate to myself as an artist. It was my personal therapy. Art was my personal therapist, So, and definitely, by the way, this is how I raised my kids. We used to paint few afternoon every month. We used to come together and paint. And then it became like it became a Bitcoin crypto when I moved into the crypto space. So it's going to have a different form and shape. So so Super Ohmni, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the early Clubhouse days, because that's what just happened there when I learned about what is NFT for the first time, community around me. And not only that, I'm using this book to actually really, really share how can you lead from your heart, and how leaders can enhance and bring, because I think that's what we're missing a lot, definitely in Web3 and on the blockchain, but also in leadership as a whole. I mean, people are very formal in many occasions, and meetings, people are hosting meeting and being the container in a very, especially in the IT and the internet industry, very on the cloud. And I've been around so many professions that they are very rigid, and there's no heart at all. It's just mechanism, and it's so robotic, and mechanics, that it's really losing a lot of the passion, the empathy, and leading in a way that we really, really care for each other. And I think the book is also definitely bring that. I'm interviewing a lot of professionals that I'm using in my life, because I think that what I learned in a very early age, that I literally have an assistance for everything I do in my life. So I use and reach out to the professionals, and I have an advisor for everything. And I think that's how I mindfully raised my kids, and was able to actually be there for them physically, and not to be all over the place, and build such a big career, because it's been not easy at all. And then also
helping hands for each limb.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm sharing that, I have my astrologer, my feng shui, my therapist, my coach, my this, my that, everything, and then of course
you need a chapter for each one of your helpers and assistants and advisors. When does the book come out?
So I'm finishing edit. I'm done editing. Let's put it this way: I'm done editing.
I know.
In a few weeks.
Yeah.
In a few weeks, I already have the publishing and all that is set for many, like a few years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm now looking for to partner, because I'm going to publish it on Amazon, and of course, in bookstores and stuff. But also, it's going to be on the blockchain. So I'm looking to partner, finding the right partner to partner with me.
Might have someone for you.
Yeah.
She was on my podcast, and she was on the podcasting side, and now for so many decades, and now she went to the book side, and so she publishes books and then makes them podcasts. So she's a great person because she knows all that. I'll make the introduction. Yeah, she's like at a great place that could be good for you. So are you going to be doing the audio for it as well?
No, no, I'm not going to do the audio. The audio will be somebody else. I mean, I'm not going to do that, but I'm looking into, I'm going to put a proposal now for the RugRadio community, the DAO, to see, because I think I want to have the book be published as a community as well. So I think that's my next step of being involved.
Like one page or one chapter.
So think about the community. Once you actually read the book, you also can have kind of ownership or get paid for that, through the DAO that we're building now for RugRadio, because, I'm a diehard RugRadio, you know that. So
tell me how you really feel about RugRadio. Come on. Let me have it. Tell me the vibe.
Didn't I just said I'm a diehard RugRadio? So from day one, for some reason, because I was volunteering in the media for a long time, and I've been in the space for the media for not as my career, but of course, when you have a career or whatever it is, media is part of what you do. But it wasn't my thing at all. But I was the chair. The national chair for the media for Region 8, which was the West Coast for the health insurance industry, and the local chapter as well in Los Angeles. And I was really, I can't even tell you how unbelievable experience it was. Like, nothing is moving. You cannot move anything. Everybody needs to authorize this and this and that. You can't say that. You cannot say that. You can. So I was like, what the fuck is the media? This is not a media. This is like, so it was really painful. So when the conversation about RugRadio came into and I was there in the room, and I've been close to the leadership, and of course, Farouk, which I love him dearly. I think he's such a heart person, and I know his heart. Let's put it this way.
Yeah.
So, and then the team and all that. And now there is and I actually was elected to the first 33 councils for the RugRadio, which was by the community. When I'm not an influencer, when I'm not I don't have a big Twitter, or I also don't have the desire to have it. So it's not that I am trying to build, I'm trying to be me in a very authentic way. So, and me, it's not just being, so I go with my heart, but I found that with the leadership when we started the DAO, and the people that came together and they're still around, which is Mando and OSF and Pete Grossman and Kimberly and Spencer. And there's so many of the original crew, and Loxley, of course, the genuinity of being anonymous, actually, to having the community realize, yeah, you can make a difference. Yes, there's a lot you can bring to the table. Yes, there is a lot of experience. There is a lot of not just wording into an empty bucket, but there are, years of behind my experience that evolved and unfold for many years, and just supporting and voting for me was amazing. So and from day one, even before that, if you are close to me, I texted you, I emailed you, I called you, I said, get the Genesis, get the membership, get the Genesis, please, please, please go on the fan list. It was a fan list, do that. And people that did that, I just had a conversation earlier with a friend of mine that she said, I would never get it if you wouldn't say now, do it, and when I you too, I know.
No, I'm like so fudding over here. This is like the first time I've ever said this on my show. This is the first time I've ever said anything except to Kenobi. So what happened was two things. One, I remember last March, NFTLA around there, when you were nominated, it was like a big buzz and thing. And I was like, so proud of you. Yay. And then, but I remember last December, Farouk was posting, it was free. Kenobi got it 3 days prior, before there was like a massive room. I was sitting like right here, and there was this huge room, and the internet kept breaking because like everyone minted at the same time. But 3 days prior, if you would have gotten it, the gas was like $10. I was writing Kenobi because the thing is, I was like not on electronics, and I was with Kenobi at Doodles. We met at Doodles Balls launch in MoonPay at Art Basel in 2021, I was like, yo, Kenobi, like tag team. Like if you know about something, let me know. If I know about something, I'll let you know, like share the alpha. Yo, like, but no, like I knew you then, but I didn't receive that. If I would have got that message from you, oh my God, like I still need RugRadio. Like I still need that. There has to be some in the vault. It needs to be sent over to me. Like it needs to happen. Like I am a RugRadio for life. Like I am a lifer. I was there. I was like, my computer was, I'm like right there to click it, slamming it. It kept like breaking. It went so fast. There was like over 27,000 or 10,000. There were so many.
No, 20.
Whatever. There was just so, I mean, there was a lot. And then it was like nothing. It was like, oh my God.
No, but there are a lot available on secondary. But I think that for me, it's just, I am fascinated by the decentralization and actually evolution of the possibility of decentralizing media that will allow us the access to our voice and to be free. And part of it is, people will hold you accountable to whatever you say, and you need to really have your checks and balances in place, and you need to really be mindful about what you're saying. But in general, it's a platform that developed in a way that, first of all, every curator can actually have a platform. So I think that if you are a podcaster or whatever you do, especially in the media space, you have to hold a Genesis piece and a membership because I think at least one, because that will allow you to actually build on the platform that the audience is already there. So the audience is evolving and people get to know each other and in a very, very special way. And not only that, you now get rewarded for taking action in the media and being supportive of the community. I think that when was the last time we were getting, paid or rewards for supporting anything? So
yeah,
I think that this is part of the evolution, and I think that it's only the beginning. And I think that I am very, very proud to be part of such an incredible, community. There are a lot of amazing community out there, but I think that not only that, I tell you one thing. We talked a lot in these hours about wealth and diversity and inclusion and all that. When I came to RugRadio, and I was shocked again, not shocked, but to see how there's no women. And I just one tweet that I responded to a post brought so much conversation and so much attention into how can we help women move the needle, and how can we, I was mind blowing. So I think that the heart is there, the connection is there, the relationship are now evolving, and I feel so close to each and every RugRadio holder that it's my heart. Yeah.
You 1,000%, 1,000,000% have inspired me. And I've been having wants and desires. And now I know how to move the needle forward by having this conversation. Like I know what I need to do. No one's going to do it for me. Even if you say it or put it out there, no one's going to do it for you but you. So I know what I need to do, steps I need to take to bridge that connection, to be deeper within a community that really speaks to my heart and soul. Because I am RugRadio. I am a voice of RugRadio community. And I so appreciate you. And thank you so much. You're so impactful. And I'm so inspired. And we're going to round this out. Do you want to say anything else before I close out the show?
No, I just thank you so much for your time, for your heart, for your always showing up, for always connecting people, for always bringing so much love, and sharing. And you also, congratulations on the new shows coming up for soon, and now you're filming in New York, and I really hope that this will be very, very successful because first of all, it's funny. I didn't see the whole thing, but I know we filmed an episode here.
Oh, I'm sending you a link right now. It's unlisted. I just made it for my mom and dad.
I still don't have it, but it's funny because I hosted a lot. I mean, in the last 15 years, I'm hosting events, community in real life over here, in my space, and this day that we film was like, it was like, I mean, and I also actually have a lot of my friends filmed here, but nobody actually could convince me to be in the movie. So you are the only one who actually, I'm like, I'm not going to say no to Katie, it's like,
I am so lucky. Wow, I am so lucky. I am so lucky. Thank you. I just shared the link with you. Don't post it or anything. Obviously, it's 9 minutes. The editor's working with the DP Ryder that you met.
Yeah.
He's editing it down to about 7:30. I'll tell you about we'll talk about offline or the plan of it. We're gonna put it in.
Yeah. Of course.
We'll talk about it more. But I just want to honor you, have you on the show, and I just feel like we should just have you on again, and we'll have a full episode on your character, Guru Ma. And we can get into the depths and soul of it all. But for you to shine your light and to talk about like your book and the clubhouse days and the spirit and the essence of like everyone on the RugRadio DAO and how like things are in the space and the technology, and just because of, personally me speaking of all the hacks, it's a big distraction of like the heart and soul of, who we are, how we connected. And what I always say is like the heartbeat of the ecosystem, the space, like it loves hackers, it loves those things, because the humanity and for the space of moving forward and the intentionality of why it was authentically built in such a way, that it has its own heartbeat. It has its own movement. I'm going to be honest, because this has happened to me recently. I was reflecting on some things by hearing some people speak. I kind of like have always led that way, and that's who I am. But I kind of got drowned out, and I deleted my social media for about 3 months. I was like drowned out, and I had to like rekindle the remembrance of, those things. So it's important for us to have these conversations. It's important for us to, speak up and continue on, or else, there's like this proverb, I think they say you die twice, once when you physically die, and then you die when people stop telling the story. So it's important to have podcasts and communities and the nominees and the people on the councils to be able to have a collective, foresight of what's happening for humanity and the greater purpose of what's happening, so we can rise and lift and move forward together, because there's a lot of this stuff going on that can drown even the best intentional people out, So thank you so much. Okay, so we're gonna round out the show. This has been amazing. Follow Naama below, get in contact, subscribe, leave a comment. Please share this with at least, I always say with one person, but you need to share this episode, please, with like 5 people. Definitely post it on social media, re-listen to it, take notes, send it to people. Because of you, we are in the top 1.5% podcast out of almost 4 million podcasts. I was going to have Naama on in season 4 for the Women Empowerment series because she's so powerful, but she was all over the place traveling and stuff. So I'm so happy I was able to get her on today. This is such an impeccable episode. Share with 1 to 5 people for sure. Subscribe, check out the show notes below, support the show. And again, because of you, I built this show at the end of 2019. I didn't know how to get on the train tracks. I wanted to start my podcast 8-9 years ago, and I finally did. In second season, we became top 5% podcast out of almost 3 million podcasts. And then in season 4, in the middle of the season, we became top 1.5% podcast. And from 2019 to 2023 now, there's 1 million more podcasts. So we're in the top 1.5% and we're going to the moon together.
Oh, Shanti, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti. Let's take 3 breaths. One for the mind and exhale. And one for the body, inhale. And exhale for the body. And one for the spirit, inhale for the spirit. And exhale for the spirit. Just remember that it's Wednesday and we practice the least effort because, flowers don't learn how to bloom and fish doesn't learn how to swim, and we naturally can love each other and don't even need to learn that. Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for having me.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you. Woo!
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time. Kiriaki, over and out.